So anyway, Adam, obviously we just quickly talked off camera then. How have you found since COVID's been, how have you found coming back into the gym setup and that?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, COVID was I'm sure a lot of your guests have mentioned COVID was very different in terms of like doing a lot of Zoom sessions with people, and that was good because obviously you were able to keep going and keep helping people. Kind of, I don't know. I suppose since COVID's finished, I know it's still going about, but since the lockdowns are finished, um, it's not been a lot different for me, to be honest. I was lucky that a lot of my clients stayed with me, managed to pick up a lot of new clients as well. In terms of like the gym environment, I think people are just back to normal now, to be honest. Obviously, you still get some people that might wear a mask or whatnot, but in terms of business, I used like you were mentioning before, just before we had a chat about kind of using lockdown to get into podcasts and all that kind of stuff. I feel like my business went from this kind of level to, kind of skyrocketed really because I used that time to improve my business, improve my service, improve how I could help people. So for me, I know obviously COVID was really bad for a lot of people, but for me, in terms of business wise, it was really good. So since going back into that kind of gym environment, to be honest, firstly, I was happy to stop doing Zoom sessions. I know we're on Zoom here, but I was quite happy to stop doing them. But yeah, for me, it's back to normal now, and actually gone from strength to strength, really. So yeah, kind of not glad COVID happened, obviously, but it was nice to have that time to be able to progress.
Yeah, I think like obviously with myself, I've had to restructure. Obviously, just spoke before we came on about how my business has changed and that because I've always, well, for many years now, I've always had staff. So it's kind of like really going back to being self-employed again. I mean, like I said before, I do have Dan, who's a great trainer, just trying to get him to do more sessions at the moment because of his other commitments is a little bit difficult at the moment. So, but yeah, it's opened my eyes. Obviously, I've started the Very Fitness podcast, which I'm really enjoying. This is a bit of a side hobby, but hopefully I could grow it into something a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm obviously having to look at the aspects of trying to train people online, not the Zoom way of doing it, but
Yeah,
kind
no.
of be out there for people as an accountability and setting up programs for what they can do, wherever they're based, if it's at home or in their local gym. So yeah, that these are the things I'm having to work on. But yeah, it's probably given a lot of people a time to look at their business and remodel it. Because like I say, in lots of ways, has gone back to normal to a degree. I agree. But speaking, doing this now with a few other people, we've all had to change certain things, and some things have been a lot more positive than others, and some things have been negative. But I think the fact that we all continue to grow is really good. Bloody hell, we just had a health pandemic. For Christ's sake,
I know.
if that wasn't a bit of a knock on the door for some people, because
Yeah.
the people that were majority affected by COVID and that were people that were not in the best health or fitness state, really. So I
Yeah.
think that's probably giving people a bit of a drive to get into keeping themselves fit and that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Adam, I know from your previous that you've got a background in football. Was
Yeah.
that something that brought you into this kind of space doing fitness and that?
It was, yeah. I mean, I've played football I say all my life, not since I was like not coming out of my mum's womb or anything, but
Yeah,
um, maybe edit that bit. But yeah, since I was very young, like always loved football. Got into playing football for a team in Southport, and then got into Crewe Alexandra's academy when I was about, I think I was 10. And then went basically all the way up through till professional at Crewe. And then went to play for semi-professional for Witton Albion and then Fleetwood Town as well, which then became professional as well. But unfortunately, I had to retire at the age of 23. So I'm 35 now. Probably don't look it, but I mean, I'm 35.
looking well.
Cheers, mate, and yourself. And yeah, unfortunately, I had to retire at 23 due to mental health issues and kind of the physical problems that came with that. So, mainly anxiety and OCD based. So a lot of people kind of think OCD is kind of like being neat and tidy, but it's more to do with fears and stuff like that. Very very much kind of a strain of anxiety. But that was quite chronic and bad. Probably started at the age of like 16. And started to affect me physically in the sense of like low energy levels. Just couldn't really do what I wanted to do on the football pitch, but managed to carry on until I was about 23. And then it got to a point where I just couldn't physically do my job anymore. And also like mentally, I couldn't really, I wasn't in the right space to do it. So unfortunately I had to retire at 23 with the intent that I wanted to get back into it at some point, but unfortunately never got to the point where I could do. But yeah, like after leaving football, that was always something I thought about, because I'm sure you're probably the same, but like it almost feels like a natural fit, like sport and PT, and it almost feels like a natural fit. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be good at being a PT just because you played football. But it was something that I wanted to do, but never felt up to doing the course just because my mental health still wasn't in a great place. But luckily, I met a OCD specialist online around I think about 5 years ago. And he kind of changed my life really in terms of like helping me deal with OCD quite a lot better, and also like encouraging me to really start thinking about a career and thinking that I could do something. Whereas before I just didn't think I could do a job because my mental health was that bad. I was just working part-time in different jobs. So basically, yeah, got over the space of a couple of months, about 5 years ago, got quite a lot better in a short period of time. And then decided to go for the PT course. And as you know, like the PT courses they're not that hard to do. Are they? I mean, they should be a lot harder. And I think probably getting that way now, but even now, like you can probably qualify within, I don't know, 2 weeks doing an online course. I don't know the exact.
Yeah, you can. We had Mike Warder who does. He works for Origin Gym.
Yeah.
Does, online PT courses and that, and I think he said you could do one in 4 weeks if you wanted to.
It's something like that, isn't it? So I think a lot of them are good. I know Mike's one's good because I know someone that did his course, and it definitely wasn't 2 weeks. It was a bit longer than that. So yeah, did the course, did it part-time, weekends. Initially just thought I'll do the level 2, so which is just the gym instructor one, but then got the bug for it. Always wanted to do the level 3 as well, but just thought I'll do the level 2 because that'll be something manageable. But then did the level 3, got some confidence, and qualified. Yeah, qualified as a PT I think it was within a couple of months, part-time. And at that point, yeah, I was buzzing like that. I'd got the qualification, ready to go, and then kind of got a job at Pure Gym in Denton in Manchester, which was a bit of a drive, but it was kind of one of the first jobs that I went for. So I thought it was a really good experience. But again, quickly realised that the qualification doesn't really set you up for life as a PT in terms of very little kind of about nutrition, very little about different kind of methods within exercise, behavior change, working with clients, business side of it. So as you know, there's being a PT, there's a lot to it. It's not just the exercise. It'd be great if it was, but you've got to market yourself, you've got to run a business. So yeah, definitely don't feel like it set me up for that, but that's something that I'm sure you've done as well. You kind of learn on the job, but also with further education, whether that's listening to podcasts or doing further courses. So that's something that I've managed to do. And going back to lockdown, that was something that really helped, doing courses in lockdown and further, improving myself. And then basically, it was actually my mum that saw the job where I'm currently at on the Ocean Plaza at the Everlast. It was DW back then, but saw the job open there, and it was obviously ideal. Southport, just around the corner. Because I was still living in Southport, but driving to Manchester every day. So went for that job, got the job, and I've been there, I think 3.5 years now. So yeah, that's kind of my long story, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a lot of people tend to get into personal training. A lot of people tend to have a sporting background like yourself, or Could be the fact that they've been going to the gym and fell in love with the gym environment, like being in the gym. They've left their kind of office job to become a personal trainer. And everything you said there is what you kind of go through anyway, really. I mean, to be fair, even if you did like a 6 month or a year or two course, when personal training course, you're never really going to become good as a personal trainer so you actually do the actual job. And I think that's in every career. I think once you start working with people, I've said it many times on podcasts, I've said to for people that you can look and know how to train. It's actually how to work with that individual. And that becomes over in time with experience. I don't get fazed by whoever I train, no matter what background they've got. I always feel like I can bring something to them that will help them in a way, even if they're quite advanced. Just because longevity in the industry, the longer you do. I mean, God, I've been in the industry since I was 18 and I'm 41 on Saturday. So I've been in it for a long time. So, and I'm still learning to this day. I still listen. And this is why one of the reasons I do the podcast, I just listen to other people and find about their background, what they do and stuff. And I can, educate myself and then hopefully I can educate other people while we do this.
Yeah.
But also, I still listen to audiobooks on fitness, and I've been really enjoying the Disney Channel with the National Geographic with Chris Hemsworth from Limitless. Obviously, I'm not old at 41, but as you get older and you've got a young family, like we spoke before, you get more into your longevity. So you've got your kids now, and you want to be around when they have grandchildren. So I'm very much looking into that space. I know a bit about that space from self-taught, but it's been interesting learning little elements from that program that I kind of knew about, but goes a little bit more in depth. So you're always constantly learning all the time. And when you're working with people, you work with different individuals, you understand people. I'm sure, I think the biggest challenge for personal trainers sometimes when you're coaching people is you sometimes have people that are very uncoachable, where their technique can not be great, and it's very, very difficult. And it's about learning the patience and the all-rounded approach of how to work with that particular client.
Yeah.
And then you can have clients that are very good when it comes to their physical exercise, but completely crap when it comes to the outside world. The nutrition, their lifestyle is so poor that no matter how well we work in the gym, we can correct that. And it's also getting into their psychic and understanding how they tick and trying to make small little changes on the outside in the lifestyle that will help impact the results from what we're doing from the inside.
Yeah, I mean that's coaching, isn't it? That's I think where the kind of people used to think PT as just a PT session and that's all you get, or that's all you do. And you get beasted and kind of as long as you leave sweaty, then you've done your job. I think that kind of the way it used to be seen is kind of long gone, and is in like organizations like Lift the Bar. Have you heard of Lift the Bar?
Yeah.
And people like that, helping to educate personal trainers on kind of all different sides of it. So like as you mentioned, the coaching side of it in terms of during the session. Every client's going to be different ability levels, but also different ways in which they learn, and different motivation levels, different outside the gym. There's going to be people struggle with different things. So it's trying to get the best out of your client in terms of meeting them where they're at. And yeah, it's one size doesn't fit all in terms of that sense anyway. And that's why I still love the one-to-one kind of in-person kind of face-to-face coaching, because obviously online it's gone massive. I'm sure and that's something I'd kind of like to pick up a few more kind of online clients and kind of go that way. But I don't think I'll ever not do one-to-one training because it's something that I really enjoy. I enjoy the banter with the clients, or I enjoy seeing clients kind of get a certain movement. For me, there's always going to be clients that need that kind of face-to-face element, even if they do sessions outside of PT sessions, whether that's using an app to follow a program along. I still think some people do need that accountability once a week, or do need that structure and that kind of in-person kind of coaching. And some people might only need that for a short amount of time, but some people need that long term. And you can kind of hopefully get someone to a place where they become more autonomous and more internally motivated, where they can do it more on their own. But again, some people might still want that face-to-face once a week or once a month, and that's absolutely fine. But as you mentioned, I think it's, knowing that we're all different. Every client's different, and that's why I think I like to offer different services to help lots of different people, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I'll always do it face to face. It's my preferred way of doing it. I understand the online training model, and it's something that I'm looking at getting into, because I feel like the expertise and skills I've learned over the years, I'll be able to help a lot of people with that. The type of program system that I use my PT Hub, which is very much driven to the online training side. But no, 100%. I think there's a lot of people out there, and I do think that there's more people out there that would rather have the face-to-face service.
Yeah.
I always talk about accountability. I think people want to have someone that they can account on. So I always feel like one of my greatest passed down sort of trainers to become successful as a personal trainer is to be accountability. Make sure you're there for their appointments. Make sure that you have a schedule in place, because it needs to become a part of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if it becomes a part of the lifestyle, say they have a session on a Tuesday or Thursday at 10 o'clock, that you're there, there's a program in place, and there's a goal, even though we're just making these little goals, or the goal stays the same, but the fact is they've got someone there that is basically willing to train them, speak to them. Because I always say, as a personal trainer, you become like a bit of everything, really. You become a bit of a life coach, not in a way of telling them what to do in life and stuff, but hopefully from a fitness side, and just keeping them accountable.
Counselor, definitely be a counselor.
Yeah, like from the mental health side. Obviously, probably the experience that you've had probably would help you a lot with clients that do suffer on that side, where you understand that, because you've been through that, and you can coach them in the way that you've coached yourself, and be able to help them that way. So you use all these natural life skills that you pick up yourself, and you pass on to other people, and be able to help. So yeah, I do think I've been saying the last few weeks, actually, talk about reinventing yourself, and that I don't like being classed as a personal trainer, me personally. I like to be classed as a health coach or health consultant, someone that's there that helps you to keep accountable to making sure that you're not just looking after your physical side, your body, but mentally and everything, all there, making sure that, I wanted to talk about this on a separate podcast, but I say a personal trainer, a good one, can be, or a health coach, where you want to look at it, can be just as important as a GP. And the reason why I say that is we're the stopgap before you go to see your general practitioner. Now, obviously, we can't do anything if you've got tonsillitis or any kind of them type of symptoms and that. But when I talk about things like, going on to high blood pressure tablets, going on to cholesterol tablets, becoming diabetic type 2, if you have someone there that's accountable, that can help you and guide you in fitness, nutrition, mental health, and all them type of things, then it will stop you having to rely on your GP. Yeah, this should probably be a big thing this day and age. It's bloody hard work trying to get a GP appointment.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, no, it really is. But no, I couldn't agree more. I think almost seeing it as like, like we go for appointments with a GP. We might have appointments with, I don't know, whatever it might be, different health related.
Like a dentist.
Dentist, yeah, good example. Dentist. I was going to say hairdresser, but
not for me, no.
No, not you. But yeah, I think it's something that's really gonna. I think there's nothing wrong with thinking that you need that accountability, or thinking that, because I think some people feel maybe a bit like, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. Why do I need to get a personal trainer? Well, there's nothing wrong with, like, people have accountability in lots of different areas of life, and we're all humans at the end of the day. So obviously we want to help people get to a point where they don't need us,
Yeah.
but where they can do it on their own. But at the same time, they might, not everyone's going to get to that point, as I mentioned before, but also some people might still just like training with us and like the feel of it. And also like you are going to get an extra 10-20% out of someone in a PT session than you would on your own. Like if I trained with you for a session, like I trained this morning, but you'd get more out of me than I would on my own, because it's just a fact of life that you're going to be able to push me more than you can on your own, because when you're on your own, easier to leave 1 or 2 reps in reserve. So there's that side of it as well. But in terms of what you mentioned about the actual name for a personal trainer, I personally don't mind being called a PT at the minute. I might when I'm your age, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
I completely understand what you mean. I don't think personal training really kind of encompasses the whole role, does it? Because I think, as you meant, like a health and fitness coach probably does, because that kind of can get you like nutrition side of it, the coaching, the habits, the mindset. Whereas I think when you hear the word personal trainer, obviously it's in the name, isn't it? Trainer, and you think it's just the exercise. Whereas, as you said, our job is far more than just that. We've got to look at the whole person. We've got to look at the nutrition. And obviously, not every client needs help with nutrition or whatever, but I think it's our job to help try and get them into a place where they can move forward and make it a part of their lifestyle. So it's not just about the training. Definitely not.
Yeah, I mean that you're right there. I mean, obviously, some clients, quite a lot of the clients are today. This morning, if I think about it, apart from maybe one, I think every single one of them, my job was to train him.
Yeah.
And in some particular clients, it could be a case of a bit of counselling and a bit of give them some kind of positive feedback on the nutrition, lifestyle, how they should approach certain things. Obviously, we're coming up to like Christmas. People are a bit worried about eating, and well, some people are not worried about eating and drinking too much, but how they can combat that. So just giving them just like a little bit of advice. What my advice is on things like that is to say, like, if you're going out on a Christmas night out tomorrow night and you're going to be eating and drinking and you're worried because you're trying to get yourself on a deficit to lose weight in this time of year, which would be quite difficult, or you don't want to over excess, I just say to people, well, you need to look at it. If you can, maybe skip breakfast, maybe even skip lunch, skip a meal, because you know that you're going to consume a little bit more, and just give them little pointers, where you can stop people from overindulging at a time where it's very, very easy to overindulge.
Yeah, and that's where treating each client like as a unique person, where that comes in, because there's loads of tools like you just mentioned there, like intermittent fasting, which is essentially skipping breakfast, really.
Yeah.
Some people, don't like to count calories, and that's absolutely fine. I've never counted calories myself, but have obviously advised other people to. And there's lots of different tools that we have as PTs that can help those clients. And the goal might not be weight loss; it might be weight gain or building muscle, whatever it might be. So just having lots of different tools and treating each person as a unique person, rather than you hear a lot of kind of people just giving people a calorie deficit and that's all they get, rather than what does this person need? They might have a really busy family life, work life, and just counting calories as an extra job on top of that. And it's just like stressing them out, and it just doesn't work for them. So I think it's just having lots of different tools in your toolbox to help individual clients. But again, nutrition is a tricky one, isn't it? It's probably the hardest thing to change.
It's 24/7 thing, that's why.
24/7, yeah, especially me at the minute. But it's definitely the hardest thing to change, because it's not just about the food. There's people that eat emotionally eat, or eat because of the bored or work life, social life. So it's a hard thing to change. So that's why for me, I like to have a more of a kind of flexible approach and try and help people change habits and change the lifestyle kind of long term. Obviously, there's a time and a place for short term, and sometimes losing weight at the start can be quite motivating and help people stick with the plan. But yeah, for me, like building habits and making it something that you can stick to kind of long term is usually the best approach, I'd say, for most people. But again, it just depends on the individual. So that's why kind of treating each person and getting to know each person's personality, kind of likes, dislikes, family life, all that kind of stuff. That's where that becomes really important, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You just got to find what works for that client and that. Like I say, you've got to look at the long-term thing. That's what I always say to clients. If that means they're going to be long-term review or after, you want to basically, when you take on that client, when they do leave you, they have all this natural knowledge. Yeah. And some of my clients that I class as a great success are people that are not currently with me anymore. They're people that have been with me and I've seen them out and about and they're still looking as great as when they left me, because I look at that client. God, I remember when she first come to me and she was really struggling to lose weight, and she's lost that weight, and she's still not seeing me anymore, but she's still lost that weight. So whatever we did in that period of time is still happening, and she's doing that herself, and that's the most important. Because like I say to people, also like a personal trainer or health coach, whatever you want to call it, it's just like a teacher. You have the best teacher in the world. If you don't listen to them, and you don't do the homework, as I may say, you're not getting the results. But if you listen, and it's down to that individual, like I say, the ones that get results so that I can whack on things like social media, they all pretty much do the same type of thing.
Yeah.
The ones that tend to get the results is the ones that see it through, get on with the program. It's not necessarily the program, but just take on my advice, really. Yeah. The actual physically training people is the easy aspect of it all. It's what they do outside is sometimes is the hardest thing. And the only person that can actually do that is themselves. I'm not there 24/7 to feed them and tell them how they should approach things. So, I'll see you obviously on social media. You do a lot of outdoor boot camps and that. How's that going?
That's really good. I mean, that's something that talking about COVID and stuff, that's something I introduced to my business during the lockdown. So obviously we couldn't train inside at one point. So I was training a lot of people outdoors. And that obviously that has its benefits as well, because mental health wise, getting outdoors in the fresh air is really good for you. But that's something I just decided to add to my service. Kind of trialed it to start with, kind of summer 2020, I think it was. And just trialed like an outdoor boot camp at Victoria Park. And that's just stayed going. And it's something that I still do every Saturday at 10 o'clock up to this day. And hopefully we'll carry that on for years to come. But it's kind of serves a few purposes, but really it's a product for people, or a service for people. It's kind of it's not super expensive. People can jump onto it as if they're training with me one-to-one as an extra, or people that don't want to do one-to-one personal training, that they want to just do boot camp every week. It's obviously a lot cheaper, but also it's good for that kind of group training aspect where you're training with other people and get that camaraderie. And like I said, outside is great. Even we do it in the winter. We've had some really, really bad weather when we've been doing it with in the pissing down rain and in the freezing cold, and just get your kind of waterproofs on, and you feel great afterwards. Obviously I get cold because I'm not doing the exercises, but you wrap up and it's fine. But yeah, that's been something that I've added to my business, and really pleased that I did. Always happy for new people to get involved, and it's a kind of pay as you go kind of system, got a booking system with it. So that's been something that I've been delighted that's I've been able to add to my business.
Yeah, if anyone's watching this, I've had to move out the kitchen. I've put them in my washing machine now. It's just gone on its mad one now. I used to do outdoor boot camps back in the day, and like I say, I know people really enjoy it. Obviously, you've got that group environment. Yeah. Some people like to do the one-to-one. Some people like to be in more of a group environment, because that could be because you get people like to work along with other people, but also sometimes it could be a cost thing, but also it's just some people prefer to work with other people and be part of a part of a thing that's happening at the time. They're all working towards the same goals. Obviously, when you're doing an outdoor boot camp, you're kind of all on the same level.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what equipment you can have, yeah, you might have some different types of weights and kettlebells, but half the time you are doing body weight type of exercises. And, you know, it's a good way of moving your body, getting fresh air, and because to be fair, I mean, the reason why I probably hit on this more than anything with yourself is that I don't see many people doing it anymore. Now, I know I used to do it back in the day, just the way I run my business now. I tend to be back to back, so I don't get the opportunity to get out and about as much as I used to. But it's just something I don't seem to see as much these days.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I see a few people online that I follow, but not a great many people kind of in the Southport area. And like I said, it was something that just happened because of COVID, and was kind of forced into it in a way. Not obviously, I was training people 1-to-1 and 2-to-1 outside, so I wasn't kind of forced into doing group training. But the outdoor element was kind of something that we were forced into, and then on the back of that, got all the equipment. So whether that's benches, portable benches, dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, power bags, slam balls, all that kind of stuff. So I've got absolutely loads of equipment now. So it's something that just I enjoy doing. I found that people enjoy it. People enjoy it. And when I like speak to people and ask for reviews or testimonials or ask people what they enjoy, most of the time it's the fact that it's outside and it's in the fresh air, even in the winter. The fact that they're outdoors, because obviously a lot of people don't get outdoors as much as they like, whether that's having an office job or whatever.
Working from home now seems to be a big thing now, doesn't it?
From home, yeah. And again, that goes back to the online kind of coaching side of it. I couldn't work from home all day. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I find motivation quite hard. Working from home, so I like to be out. But I think it's something that people enjoy. And like I said, it's not something that I do see a lot of out and about around Southport, as you said. But it's something that I'll definitely keep going with because the demand seems to be there. So it's good. I enjoy it.
No, it's good. It's good. And it's good that obviously our hometown Southport, you're giving that type of service out there for people to jump on.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is that it's kind of catered for all abilities and all ages. So obviously you can adapt exercises. So for example, a squat, you can do lots of different types of squats. You can reduce the range of motion. Core exercises you can do. If someone can't do a plank, they might be able to do a dead bug or something similar to that. So no matter what your age is or your ability level, we always adapt it. And you just work to your ability. So because each station is like a timed station, you've not got to hit a certain amount of reps, different options for weights and stuff. So it works really nicely, and it's a really, as we mentioned before, it's a really good group dynamic and camaraderie. So that's something that I think people enjoy as well, because we're not all the same. We don't all like 1-to-1. Some people really don't like 1-to-1. Some people, I know some people that don't like the thought of it being all about them, and watching everything they do and critiquing their technique and stuff. So having different options in my service is something that I've built over the years. Having 1-to-1, 2-to-1, small group PT, so up to 4 people, and then the boot camp, which is large group. And then hopefully moving on to, as you said, a bit of online as well. So maybe a certain amount of slots per week for people just to follow a program. Just caters for different people and different people's needs, because like I said, not everyone needs or wants the same thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing we can do in our industry. I've always been a bit like that. I've done the group PT inside, not like before we came on, not doing as much as that since the pandemic, really, because I had a very good clientele on there. Obviously, the group was one of the big ones that I had to start. At least I tried to do some stuff online, because the way I did my group training thing was a little bit like a group PT session, rather than like any kind of class based. So what you would do, we'll work on a program that you're following on an app, and it'd be 2 people working on a particular exercise, and then you just work your way around. And at the end, we'll probably do a bit of a hit circuit, as I used to call.
Yeah.
And I've obviously changed gyms, so we haven't got that kind of setup in the gym now, really. It's more probably going to be weight-based exercises. I'm following like that. But just at the moment, currently, I tend to be doing majority of the hours. It's trying to fit it in. But it's one thing that I always enjoyed, and I always know there was a different side of a market that would do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I used to do like a bit of a boot camp. I call it a 6-week challenge, where
Yeah.
sometimes people need to be put into some, like we were saying before, some people need that consistency way. So even it's just a 6-week little block, some people that'd be quite good to do
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah, no, yeah. Some people like that kind of end goal, don't they?
Of course they do, yeah, they do. I mean, like all the programs I tend to do with people that are 12-week plans. I go for a strength phase, hypertrophy. I mean, most of them are based around hypertrophy, but then
Yeah.
I'll do like more hypertrophy endurance, and we do 12-week phases, and we kind of change it, and I'll drop in different exercises. Everyone kind of works on that kind of
Good.
system with myself. Obviously, I might have to bespoke a little bit more to certain individuals, depending on the injury or certain circumstances and that. So yeah, no, but that's the great thing about industry. We can look at different diversities of going online, training outside, training inside in a group or one-to-one, because everyone has their different things. And the reason why I've done the podcast, if you've been listening and watching, I've been talking to people that do Pilates, yoga, all sorts, and mixed martial arts last week with Andy. You know, they all played a bit, and it's all fine and what works and that. For me, there's no exercise that's not good for you. You know, anything that gets your body moving, creates endorphins, is fantastic.
I agree, and I think the way people look at exercise sometimes can be just about losing weight or burning calories, whatever it might be. Obviously not everyone, but some people do. But for me, like reframing it and thinking about the mental health. Obviously, I've been through my stuff, but a lot of people have struggled with and have struggled with anxiety or depression, whatever. So for me, the exercise is literally the best thing you can do. But yeah, it can be a bit of a vicious, get into a bit of a vicious cycle, because obviously when you don't feel good and you don't feel like getting out, especially when it's cold, you don't really feel like going to the gym. But if you can remember how good you feel after a session, even write it down, like how you felt at the time, like how good you feel about yourself, more confident, you think more clearly, you've got more energy for the rest of the day. And that can be anything, like you said. It can be a Pilates session, it can be a weight training session, which obviously I've got a bias towards like strength training as you have. Yeah. It could be a HIIT training, bike ride outside, a long walk, whatever it is. If you just can remember how good you feel, because there's not many times where you don't feel good after training in some way, and you feel, and for me, like a big part of it is like, since I had my little boy, he's 2 now. One of the big reasons that I push myself to train, even when I don't want to, trying to get at least 3 full body workouts a week, is just because I want to be a better dad. I want to be have more energy when I'm with him. I want to be more present when I'm with him. And yeah, just like,
you're thinking the longevity, like I was saying. So when he's 16, you can play footy with him and compete with him.
That's it. Yeah, I think when I get nearer 40, I might start thinking, but
yeah.
I'm not far off. But no, 100%, mate, 100%. Like, you don't want to be, when your little lad or your kid is you don't want to be able to not play football with him because you're out of shape, or because you've got a bad knee, because you've not exercised for so long, because inactivity is pretty bad for you. So for me, I think it's just about reframing exercise in certain ways and thinking about all the positives in terms of mental health, but also longevity, like you said. So great for your bone health. So for women, once they're getting kind of perimenopausal or postmenopausal, nothing better that you can do for your bone health than weight training. Your muscles you're gonna maintain muscle mass in your muscles. Your hormones are gonna be balanced better. There's literally not one thing that won't improve really through exercise, weight training, cardio, whatever it is. So for me, looking at all that is kind of hopefully how people will start seeing exercise a bit more, rather than just thinking about using it as a tool to lose weight. or whatever it might be. It's kind of, it is a bit of a miracle cure, isn't it? Exercise, in terms of what the things that it can do. So
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it ticks all them boxes. I mean, a lot of people tend to go into personal training because they're looking for fat loss. I had a client just recently done a 12-week program, and he hadn't been to a gym before. And he's at that kind of age anyway, where if he hasn't done weights before and we started hitting the weights, he'll probably bulk up. And he put on massive amounts of muscle. His strength range went off the roof, and he's done really, really well. And it's the first time for a while I've actually done a before and after, where I'm actually taking someone that was in decent shape, but suddenly like more muscle bound. And
yeah,
it was nice to be able to do a transformation of that, saying like, actually, we haven't just shrunk this person down; we've actually built them up.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
a lot of my clients, probably yourself, a lot of clients, yeah, we look at the fat loss, but we also forget about what the muscle gain is. And
Yeah,
really, you're seeing that muscle gain, you're seeing that leanness look of that because it's the client, but it's also a lot that's been contributed because of the muscle gain they put on. So really, like most probably bios or personal trainer bios, we're always looking about reducing body fat and increasing lean mass. And but people tend to just look at the fat loss side of it all. But to get that, you need to build that foundation of muscle,
yeah,
especially as you get older. Because a lot of case studies are now showing that from the age of 25, your body doesn't produce as much testosterone, so your percentage will stop dropping. So
yeah.
obviously you can still gain and get stronger as you age and that, but as you get older, it becomes a little bit harder to gain that muscle because testosterone naturally drops. We can boost that by weight training, eating more protein, and all them things, and that will help with what I mentioned before about the longevity state of it as well.
100%. And you can obviously reduce or kind of delay the aging process. Obviously, as we're getting to a certain age now where, like we spoke about before, we start thinking about longevity and stuff. But as you said, the body does naturally produce less testosterone. You lose muscle as you're getting older, all that kind of stuff. But we can delay that, and we can maintain where we're at by staying healthy and staying active, and especially weight training. So yeah, for me, there's that's as good a motivation as you can get, really, and kind of you're gonna just increase probably the years that you've got in life. And obviously we all want to live longer,
Of course.
but also the quality of that life as well, and being able to do stuff that you still do now.
Yeah, I mean that's what I say to people. It's not always about living to a grand old age. It's also living quality life.
Exactly,
Like I say, you could get to 100 years of age, but if you spent 20 years in a bed, that's not quality of life. I always say to people, you want to be able to keep as much strength, mobility, flexibility, everything, fitness, as long as you can to your later years of life. So you're able of enjoying what we've got in life. You know what I mean? Because I think people forget, how lucky we are to live in a world, to be live and to be able to do things. And
100%.
like I always say to people, your body is the vessel for it, so you got to look after it. It's like I say about like a car. If you've got a good car and you don't look after it and don't use it, it can sit there, get rusty, and have a few issues with it. But if you keep it moving and look after it well, you'll get plenty of life out of it.
No, and it's a good analogy, the car one, isn't it? It really is a good analogy. And you can use that the same with nutrition, about putting the right fuel in your car. Same as like petrol or diesel, whatever. So yeah, there's so many benefits, but at the same time, it's understanding it's not always easy to start exercises. It's not always easy for people to get going. A lot of people do struggle with motivation or mental health issues, whatever it is. So I think it's just the best thing. One of the best things we can do is help people to get started, and then give them the right kind of environment and tools to be consistent and to make it a habit, and then for them to see all the benefits that they can get from exercise that we've just spoke about. Because most people want to exercise, and most people want to feel better or want to have more energy with the kids and stuff. But for a lot of people, they just don't feel like they've got the motivation, or they just feel like too down to do it, or they haven't got the time or whatever. So if we can create that environment for them to then see all those results, and then make it something that they stick to long term, and ideally something they enjoy, that's the best thing we can do. And as you mentioned before about seeing clients that don't train with you anymore, but still, keep doing what you advice you gave them, then we know we're doing a good job and we're affecting people's lives for the better. So it's also about understanding it's not easy to necessarily get into exercise. People have got like different a lot of people are intimidated by the gym. I'm sure you've come across that yourself before about weight training, going in the free weights area, especially women. Women tend to have that fear sometimes. I can't go into the free weights area of the gym because all the beefcakes are there, and I don't want to, make a fool of myself. And I said motivation's a big one for people as well. Like, just don't feel like I've got the energy to go. But yeah, so I think it's understanding that people do have these issues, and we're not saying that it's easy to make exercise a regular part of your life. But if we can and we can, get people to that point, then the benefits are going to be huge.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you get a lot of them ones that when they get in the gym, don't fancy it that day, and they're like, "Oh, I struggle today, and I don't know if I was almost going to cancel on you. I don't feel it." And as soon as they finish that workout, they feel like, "Oh, I'm so glad I come. I feel so much better now." It's making sure you get them through that door and making sure that they understand the feeling once they've done it and how they feel. Exactly. So, Adam, what's the best way to contact yourself then?
So obviously I'm on Instagram, so Adam Warlow PT on Instagram. On Facebook as well, Adam Warlow Personal Training. You've got a link in my bio. So if you want to, if anyone wants to inquire about boot camp or personal training, always happy to have a chat, and we'll have a free consultation. But yeah, probably the best way is Instagram or Facebook, I'd say. I'd like to share a little bit more on there, but as you know, it's hard being consistent, isn't it, when you've got other things going on in your life? But that's something that I'm working on as well, because it's something that I still struggle with my own mental health at times, and still working on that. So but yeah, trying to be a bit more consistent with that, getting a bit more content out there. But I'm always busy on my stories, so if people want to check out what people get up to in my business, then probably Instagram stories is a good one.
It's like going about the PT side. I'm like this on social media. Go through fits and starts with social media, and I'm putting loads of stuff on, and I can go for ages without. And obviously, it's just the way people communicate these days is through social media. So, like we're going about, do you need an SNA of a PT? Because you could do it yourself. I'm going to a stage where I reckon at some stage next year, without a doubt, I'm going to basically pay someone to run my social media. I'll give them all the content and get them to do it, because it's hard. And like you say, when you're running a business and you've got a family, it's so difficult to do it.
It is, and I've thought about that myself. It's just getting to a point where you feel like you can afford that financially, and because there's nothing wrong with that. Because as you just said, we wear a lot of different hats as a PT. We're a business owner. We've got to run a business. We're a marketer. We're a trainer in the gym, nutritionist. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, outsourcing to other people is cool, and that's where I think we can relate to clients as well, because they're trying to make exercise a regular part of their journey, and nutrition. So yeah, it's not easy to get it to do it all. So that's where kind of maybe getting the help of a PT or the help of someone that does social media for us there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As a PT, people are probably employing you for that accountability, because they know they need to exercise. We all need to exercise. Some people don't like to exercise, so the only way they're ever going to exercise is by making an appointment with a personal trainer in whatever, if it's one-to-one in yoga, Pilates. Personal training tends to be in a gym kind of environment, doing weights, and finding what they like and what they enjoy the most, and having someone that they're accountable to be.
100%. I think to start, when someone first gets started, that's probably one of the most important things, because I always say to people when they reach out to me or have a consultation, always like say, well done for reaching out, because that is realizing that you need some help, or you want to make a change, you want to exercise, you want all the benefits from exercise, but you're struggling to get going. Well done for reaching out and knowing that, you need just a little bit of help just to get you going. And it might be something that you work with them long term, or it might be just a few months or 3 months, 6 months to get going. But, helping them with that accountability to start with, so you can then build it into your lifestyle is is one of our kind of, I think, main roles when someone first starts with us. And there's nothing wrong with needing that, because we all need it in different aspects of life, and it's just and recognizing that you need that help is a positive, I think.
Definitely. Well, Adam, thanks very much for your time today. I've really enjoyed doing this with yourself. And
No, you too, mate. Yeah,
really
thanks for inviting me on, mate. Been a pleasure.
no worries, man.
All right, mate. Top man.